WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is a step closer to being extradited back to the US to face espionage charges.
So many of the documents and files that Assange and WikiLeaks published led to new transparency in some of the wars that the West has waged on places like Iraq and Afghanistan. And I found Assange to be most insightful about the nature of the military-industrial complex, the nature of modern warfare, the nature of modern surveillance. Let's not forget that Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, modern whistleblower heroes, communicated with Assange. And let's remember too that what Assange did, many major news organisations, to their credit, also did, publishing these stories. Why is it that only Julian Assange is in this position now? And how can the Julian Assange case be used to help us understand the morality of war, the morality of transparency, the morality of surveillance? This is from Caitlin Johnston's Substack. This is happening at the same time the United States and the United Kingdom are loudly demanding accountability for alleged war crimes by the Russian military in Ukraine, which is interesting because attempting to bring accountability for war crimes is precisely why Julian Assange is in prison. That's just one way that we can view this case. How can you assume that the Western agenda with regard to the Ukrainian conflict ought not be questioned or queried while understanding the Julian Assange case? All of us agree that Russian military action in Ukraine is having terrible consequences and is creating a humanitarian crisis. But what I sort of know is you can't just blindly trust America's and America's corporate media arm's version of events. You have to question it because the evidence for that line of inquiry has already been provided. You have to query, I suppose, when considering the case of Julian Assange, what his motivations might be, what his intentions were. I met Julian Assange and he's an unusual dude. I mean, he's a computer person. He's a head-down computer hacker person. We're not talking about Bradley Cooper here. We're not talking about easy, affable people that are easy to chat to. And also there was some complexity around the trial. There were accusations and allegations, as far as I know, none of which were proven to be true. What we do know is that Julian Assange revealed stuff that changed the way we view power, that changed the way we view surveillance, that changed the way we view war, and in each of those cases made it more difficult for the powerful to operate with impunity. He is a war criminal, President Biden said of Vladimir Putin earlier this month. He should be held accountable. If you believe that to be true, then you have to have a degree of objectivity or openness to accountability across the board. People call this whataboutism now, don't they? Oh, you know, Russia is different, don't do whataboutism. Well, the reason current geopolitics causes so much strife and confusion, additionally to the obvious horrors of war, is I feel that we can't go, no, we're the goodies, we're good guys, we're basically on the right track. You know, and this case is one of the reasons that we have so much doubt and angst, because Julian Assange, like when you see, oh, guess what, there's all sorts of shady stuff going on, contracts are awarded, you go, what? No. Surveillance? The CIA did that? You just go, yeah, I know that. Julian Assange told us stuff we already knew, but for which there was no evidence. He gave us the evidence, and for this, it seems he may yet be executed. The most powerful government in the world, which serves as the hub of the most powerful empire that has ever existed, is working to extradite a journalist for exposing its war crimes while simultaneously rending its garments over war crime allegations against another government. It's interesting how those things can happen simultaneously. In a way, wouldn't you appreciate it if America went, look, we're trying to run the world here. We can't have him mouthing off, this geezer. We're trying to run the world. Instead of pretending, oh no, what he done there, that was espionage. He's a spy. He's not a spy. Put it on the internet. Dun, 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 dun. Send. What Assange done is embarrassed them, provided evidence for what most of us intuitively know, that in many cases the state do not operate on behalf of or at the behest of the people that they were elected to represent. They represent their own interests and they will lie when necessary. They will kill when necessary. Assange provided evidence of what we all already know. Julian Assange should, I'm going to go out on a limb, not be extradited to America. Whatever complexities that dude has as an individual, with regard to this matter, he has behaved literally heroically. You would think a power structure that had recently been caught red-handed committing war crimes and is currently in the process of imprisoning a journalist for exposing those war crimes would at least have the sense not to yell too loudly about war crimes for a little while. But this is how confident the empire is in its ability to control the narrative. I sometimes think we're too exhausted to hold people to account. I sometimes think like, oh God, that Julian Assange thing, what happened? Wasn't there some, oh God, I don't know what's going on with that dude. Yeah, it's too complicated. Oh, what's happening in Russia, Ukraine? Oh, it's too, unless you're directly connected, unless you're like, yeah, how do you keep your mind active when there's so much information, so much contradiction, so much social pressure just to believe one unquestioning sort of vanilla perspective on whatever issue happens to be the germane matter of the day? You're supposed to think this about that. Oh, well, I generally have this tendency not to trust what I'm told by authority figures because my life, even outside of government and media, has shown me that is not wise. Don't let them trap you in a goldfish brain, continually forgetting that just 10, 20 years ago there was this spate of conflicts in Afghanistan, in Iraq. Oh, they're terrorists somehow. How exactly? Shut up, don't matter. Oh, Julian Assange. There's evidence that they're doing this for reasons other than what's been explained. Here's some evidence on surveillance from heroes like Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden. What? No, forget about that. Forget about that. Just swim around the goldfish bowl. Oh, what do we care about this week? Stay awake. Stay alert. Don't forget what's happened. Use the case of Assange with all of his imperfections and contradictions to remind you of one incontrovertible truth. Power is complex. Authority must be questioned. Authority must be accountable. Conversation is required. You can't just bang people up and then ship them around, nut them off when it's convenient because they what? Told the truth.